Tonight on Y News. Crewmen of Filipino fishing boat involved in a collision incident in the West Philippine Sea maintain that the vessel that hit them belonged to China. A maritime law expert says Chinese crewmen's act of abandoning Filipino fishermen after the ramming incident may be considered a serious international law offense. Water interruptions loom as the National Water Resources Board cuts water allocation for Metro Manila. Wishcovery Season 2 Grand winner Rhea Basco signs a 5-year management contract with BMPI. Good evening. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says they will also get statements from the Vietnamese crew that rescued the 22 Filipino fishermen whose boat sank near Recto Bank. Meanwhile, the fishermen's families cry for justice. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says that the survivors of the Filipino fishing boat that sank in a collision incident near Recto Bank on June 9 testifies that a Chinese vessel hit their seacraft. However, the Defense Department chief clarifies in an in-depth investigation needs to be done to determine what really happened. He explains the area is common fishing ground where foreigners like the Vietnamese, Chinese, Taiwanese, and Japanese also enter.
Nakakapasok naman lahat ng fishermen dyan ang fisher boats kasi it is a common fishing ground of everybody. So nakakapasok sila dyan.
Secretary Lorenzana says they will also get statements from the Vietnamese fishermen who rescued the 22 Filipino fishermen. The Philippine government will also get the results of China's investigation on the incident. The official adds such incidents may be avoided if fishing boats are well lit.
Siguro there should be some mechanism like meron kang ilaw palagi para makikita ka. And yung iba naman, they should be very careful in traveling at night.
Secretary Lorenzana emphasizes that whoever hit and sunk FB Gemver 1 should not have abandoned the Filipino fishermen. The relatives of the Filipino fishermen condemned the act, saying those responsible simply abandoned their loved ones. Now, they cry for justice.
Kasi kung hindi nila sinasadya or kung aksidente talaga, kung tao sila, titigilan mo at tutulungan mo. Wala, umalis na lang sila eh.
Tinakbuhan talaga sila, sir. Yung angkla po nila ay naano pa sa China. Kung hindi po daw nila naputol yung tali, yun po ay talaga sigurong nawasak na sila na siguro po pati tao kasama.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
Malakand Yang says there is no need for the Philippine government to summon the Chinese ambassador to the Philippines days after the sea vessel collision incident near Recto Bank. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has not yet made a public pronouncement on the collision and abandonment of Filipino fishermen days after the incident. The palace defends him, saying the government does not know exactly what happened and it is still being investigated. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo describes the chief executive as a very cautious man and someone who makes calibrated responses. Malacañang also says there's no need for the Philippine government to summon the Chinese ambassador to the Philippines to explain the reported collision of Chinese and Filipino vessels near Recto Bank on June 9, 2019. In particular is the Chinese crew's alleged abandonment of Filipinos when their boat sank after the collision. Chinese ambassador to the Philippines Zhao Jianhua, in a text message, has told presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo on his take about the issue. The Chinese envoy says the Chinese government is already thoroughly and seriously investigating the incident. He also vows to educate and punish those involved if it were true that the Chinese fishing boat did it. The Chinese diplomat also hopes this incident could be held in a proper context. He also says incidents such as this happen even in the best regulated family. On the other hand, the Chinese Foreign Ministry warns about politicizing the issue.
From what the Philippine side has explained so far about the situation, this is just an ordinary maritime accident. If the relevant situation turns out to be true, respective of which country the perpetrators come from, abandoning should be condemned. This type of situation can entirely be properly dealt with through normal channels, supporting unverified media hype and politicizing the incident. These are irresponsible methods.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A maritime law expert exerts that abandoning a distressed crew or individual in the sea is a serious offense under international law, like what happened to 22 Filipino fishermen who were helpless after their boat sank reportedly due to a Chinese vessel. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Senator Panfilo Lacson has expressed discontentment with the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson's statement after a Chinese vessel allegedly rammed a Filipino vessel near Recto Bank last June 9 and abandoning the 22 crewmen on the submerged boat. According to Senator Lacson, even if it was an accidental collision as claimed by China's side, it will not mitigate the criminal offense of abandoning the Filipino fishermen. It will also just worsen the situation after the Chinese officials said not to politicize the incident. The senator insists the Chinese government should take action on those responsible in the incident. According to University of the Philippines Institute for Maritime Affairs and Law of the Sea Director J. Batumbakal, it is a serious offense to abandon distressed crew in the sea.
What makes it even more serious is iniwan yung ating mga tao na para malulod sa dagat bale, no? Hindi sila tinulungan pagkatapos ng insidente. And very serious offense yan pagdating sa international law.
According to Batumbakal, what the foreign crew did is a violation of a certain provision under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea or UNCLOS. In such case, normally the offended party will ask the government of the other party to take action on the issue.
We normally will demand that the other party investigate and sanction and provide compensation. So mapupunta ka sa arbitration kung hindi pa rin nila aksyonan.
It can be noted that China has not been honoring the ruling of International Arbitration Court, particularly the case filed by the Philippines on the issue of maritime rights in the West Philippine Sea. Despite the ruling, China continues to insist their claim of large portions of the South China Sea. Until now, the international community is still puzzled how to implement the ruling amid China's bullying to small countries like the Philippines. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Navy's BRP Tausug fetched 21 fishermen on board the sea vessel Alcaraz to ferry them to a port in San Jose Occidental, Mindoro. A turnover ceremony was held on the Alcaraz for the fishermen who were involved in a collision incident between a Chinese sea vessel and a Filipino fishing boat near the Recto Bank on June 9. The fishermen are all excited to see their families who have been waiting for them. The Filipino fishermen maintained their boat had been anchored when the Chinese vessel hit their FB Gimver 1. They are expected to arrive at Mindoro together with a mechanic who were with them when they were abandoned by the Chinese crew. The National Water Resources Board reduces water allocation in Metro Manila. Because of this, Manila Water and Maynilad implement rotational water service interruptions. Joa Nano tells us why.
From 48 cubic meters per second last May, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB reduced the water allocation to the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System or MWSS to 46 CMS this month. According to NWRB Director Serviliano David, they are forced to cut the water allocation in Metro Manila as the water in Angat Dam is nearing its critical level. As of 6 a.m. today, the water level in Angat Dam is at 163.62 meters. This is expected to plunge to 160 meters, which is the lowest level mark next week if there is still no rain in the coming days.
Sa ganung level po at 160 meters, magkakaroon na po ng issue in terms of availability ng supply, no? So ngayon po, bumababa pa rin siya, no? At despite the pronouncement po ng pag-asa na parating na yung onset ng rainy season, yung mga pag-ulan na inaasahan natin doon sa Angat watershed ay hindi po dumarating, no?
This has prompted water concessionaires Maynilad and Manila Water to implement rotational water service interruptions among their customers. This is to save the remaining supply in their reservoirs. Jeric Sevilla, the spokesperson of Manila Water, explains that as of now, they have maintained their schedule of their water service interruption during off-peak hours when there is less water consumption.
Ang ginagawa lang natin ngayon, patuloy yung operational adjustments natin. Pero in the event na talagang hindi na kaya ng sistema natin na mag-provide pa ng additional water supply, talagang magbabawas tayo.
On the other hand, Maynilad have started the rotational water service interruption since last Tuesday that runs from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m.
During nighttime, para po mabigyan po kami ng pagkakataon na ma-refill yung aming mga reservoirs para during peak hours naman po sa araw ay hindi po masyado mararamdaman ng aming mga customers itong pagbaba ng supply dito sa Metro Manila.
Thousands of households are affected by the water service interruption, especially those residing in elevated areas, according to the water concessionaires. For a complete list of areas and schedule of the water service interruptions, customers may check the official social media accounts of Maynilad and Manila Water. To mitigate the impact of Angat Dam's lowering water level, the NWRB has opened the dam's low-level outlet. The NWRB advises the public to conserve and recycle rainwater, which may be used for other purposes. John Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Wishcovery Season 2 Grand winner Rhea Basco is now officially a part of the BMPI Talent Center. The young artist is also looking into other interests aside from singing. Mirasol Abogadil will tell us why.
After the successful album launch concert of the Wishcovery Season 2, the singer and the song finalists in Araneta Coliseum on June 4, the journey to stardom of the competition's grand winner, Rhea Basco, is now in full blast. This morning, Rhea signed a 5-year management contract with Breakthrough and Milestones International Incorporated, together with UNTV BMPI Vice President Mr. J. Eusebio and BMPI Talent Center Head Mr. Bobby De Los Santos. The contract is part of Rhea's prize as Wishcovery Season 2's champion. According to the young artist, aside from the different projects that BMPI is preparing for her, she is also looking forward to recording her own solo album, especially writing her own songs.
Siyempre, as a singer, gusto ko rin makagawa ng sarili kong kanta. Pero as of now, parang hindi pa ako nabibigyan ng wisdom para gumawa ng song. Pero hopefully soon, siyempre, pagpe-pray natin.
Aside from her singing career, Rhea is also busy preparing for the dentistry board exam she will take this year.
Magre-review ako, review centers. Sana pumasa din. Hindi, dapat pumasa pala.
Meanwhile, according to UNTV BMPI Vice President J. Eusebio, Rhea has a great potential to make it big in the Philippine music industry.
We saw some potential in Rhea in terms of being able to really be popular, not only among the millennials, but also dun sa lahat ng mga nasa publiko na they like music.
He also added that the company will be able to better promote its artists with the opening of the KDR Music House in the near future.
We're gonna be venturing on publishing. So meaning lahat ng mga talent natin, when they have their own single or their album, tayo na mismo ang magpapublish nun. So yung ating footprint doon sa music industry, palawak na palawak.
Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Alex Baltasar left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. 2 whistleblowers claim separate sworn statements that owners of the WellMed Dialysis Center made fraudulent claims. Malacañang denies claim that President Rodrigo Duterte met with the founder of Kappa Community, his ministry, over alleged investment scam. An election lawyer believes the country's party list system should be amended instead of abolished. Hong Kong recycles used drainage pipes into new home. And Pure Foods team gears up for first win in a clash against Alaska, while San Miguel hopes for a third straight win in their game against Ginebra on Sunday. Good evening. Malacañang denies what the Kappa Community Ministry founder told his members. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte emphasizes the group's operation must stop. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
The members of Kappa Community Ministry International were jumping with joy during their gathering yesterday in General Santos City. This after Kappa founder Joel Apolinario told his members that he had already talked with President Rodrigo Duterte, saying they have been allowed to operate again. However, Malakand Yang denies what Apolinario told his members. When Apolinario was addressing his members in the gathering, President Rodrigo Duterte was in fact at a separate event with the agrarian reform beneficiaries in General Santos City. In his speech, the president emphasized his resistance to Kappa's operation, which he reiterates is a scam. But Kappa members are disappointed with what the president said.
Sana mahal na Pangulo, binigyan mo kami ng pagkakataon, mabawi ang pera namin. Si Apolinario at saka mga investors ang ambulahan.
Nag-victory namin dito sa sports complex at karon niya karon pag uli na mo sa balay nangabasa mi kulan nalipay nami kay gwapo na ang kuan ni Pastor Apolinario pag abot na mo nagnuna pud siya.
Kukuhanin ng gobyerno anong karapatan nila? O edi sila ang nangi-scam, sila ang scammer pag kinuha nila yon.
Pero sir, donation po ito, di ba sir?
Walang ano yung donation kasi yung pera na binigay namin bumabalik din sa amin. Yung donation na yun doon lang sa papilyon. Pero sa puso at kalooban ng Kappa, pera ng mga tao yun na investment. Wala yung donation na yun. That is useless.
Despite such calls, the president stands firm on his order.
The operation will be stopped or shall stop immediately.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue, General Santos City.
Two whistleblowers reveal in separate statements the illegal activities in WellMed Dialysis Center when they were still working in the clinic. Meanwhile, the legal counsel of WellMed Center's owner requests authorities to release his client. April Senedoza will tell us why.
Two former WellMed Dialysis Center employees turned whistleblowers detailed the fraudulent claims of the clinic in their separate sworn statements. Edwin Roberto and Lizelle De Leon are currently under the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation on charges of estafa and falsification of documents. In their separate sworn statements, Roberto and De Leon stressed WellMed owner Dr. Brian C. ordered them to charge the dialysis billing of each PhilHealth claims of dead patients, as well as to fake signatures on some PhilHealth documents. They claimed they would lose their jobs if they don't follow C's rules. Roberto used to be in charge of WellMed operations, while De Leon worked as a PhilHealth officer, as well as billing and cashier officer. On March 30, 2016, C told Roberto to charge dialysis billing worth 2,600 pesos to each PhilHealth claims of dead patients, namely Marcela Cristobal and April Badiola. De Leon was tasked to fill up the PhilHealth benefit eligibility form and claim form 2, wherein she is ordered to copy the signatures of such dead patients. Aside from faking signatures, C also demanded De Leon to change her handwriting when filling up forms. After a month, Roberto said WellMed was able to receive payment from such claims. Since the illegal activity was pushed through, the two were tasked to repeat the same scheme again. According to Attorney Crispin Francis Handusay, the whistleblowers did not involve PhilHealth officials in their affidavits.
They're only taking steps against WellMed. So, as far as their affidavits that they have executed are concerned, wala naman silang in-identify na any PhilHealth official.
On the other hand, the lawyer of C demands for the immediate release of his client before the Department of Justice and NBI. In a letter sent to DOJ Secretary Menardo Guevara and NBI Director Dante Giran, they cited that C was detained for 36 hours without any appropriate charges filed by authorities. adding there is no ground, laws, rules, and regulation for his detention. C was detained at the NBI since June 10 on charges of estafa and falsification of documents. His camp's request for immediate release was already denied by the Manila RTC Branch 20 when they filed a writ for habeas corpus. April Senedoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
An election lawyer believes that the party list system must not be abolished but instead be amended. Meanwhile, a party list group echoes President Rodrigo Duterte's statement that businessmen fund some party list groups. Grace Casin will tell us why.
When the media asked presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo if the president wants to abolish the party list system, this was his response.
Baka papunta ron kung ganyan ang sentimento niya, or baka gusto niya na yung nagre-represent coming from that sector.
President Duterte has earlier criticized the party list system, calling it an evil, saying the rich are using it for their personal interests.
Umot ka to pagbukas ni doon ko nakita yung mga generals. Kilala ninyo yan. And yet they stayed for a while. Then they ran for public office sa party list. Kaning party list, that's one evil. Ang tanang na nakay diha, mga dato, ang party list, ginagastuhan lang nag mga dato. Ang mga kuan, mga pangan, kunwari pangan sa mga laborer, pero ang ilang mga milyonaryo. So they stay in power there.
The richest congressman since 2016 has been one Pacman party list representative Mikey Romero. Based on the 2018 Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, we tried to get Romero's views on this issue, but he still has no reply as of today. Anti-crime and terrorism through community involvement and support, or ACT-CIS party list representative Dina Taduran, meanwhile said in a statement that she doesn't think the party list system is evil. Taduran added the president only expressed his dismay based on his personal experiences. But Kabataan party list agrees with the president, saying big businessmen have bastardized the essence of the party list system. Election lawyer attorney George Erwin Garcia believes that the creation of the party list system has a good intention and purpose. But as the time went by, he says its purpose, which is to represent the marginalized sectors of the country, has not been served.
Yan ang sabi ng saligang batas, it is reserved for the marginalized and the underrepresented. So kahit hindi ka abogado, inuunawain mo lang yung marginalized, mukhang ang marginalized, hindi naman yung mga mayayaman, hindi naman yung mga super bilyonaryo. Yung mga tinatawag na underrepresented, hindi naman sila yung mga nakakariwasa sa buhay kasi nga kaya ka nga underrepresented.
Attorney Garcia believes there is no need to abolish the party list system but to amend it instead. He adds that the party list representatives are more active lawmakers in Congress.
For the information of the public, ang pinakamaingay na congressman, ang pinakamadaming mga panukalang batas na congressman, ang laging present na congressman ay ang mga party list congressmen. Sila yung laging aktibo.
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Commission on Elections reminds candidates that the excess money from campaign contributions must be declared as taxable income. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
4 of the senators who won the 2019 midterm elections have excess money from the total contributions they receive based on their Statement of Contributions and Expenditures, or SOSE. Senator Nancy Binay has excess money amounting to about 2.7 million pesos. Senator-elect Pia Cayetano has an excess of some 1.5 million pesos unspent from the contributions during her campaign. There are 600,000 pesos that remains from the contributions donated to Senator-elect Bongo. Amy Marcos has more than 5 million pesos excess money from her campaign funds. According to the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, the candidates have to declare it as taxable income if they are not returning the excess money to their donors, in accordance with the Bureau of Internal Revenue's order.
Under the rules, that will be may tax implications yan. That's the BIR ruling on that matter.
Senators-elect Francis Tolentino and Bong Revilla have exceeding contributions compared with their campaign expenditures based on the SOSE they submitted. Tolentino spent more than 159 million pesos, while Revilla's expenditures amount to 121 million pesos. COMELEC say they will have to scrutinize the senators' expenditures.
I-harmonize ng COMELEC yung records, no? And kapag may nakitang discrepancy, however the discrepancy looks like, papag-explain din naman yung nag-file.
Among the candidates who submitted their SOSE, Mar Rojas has the most campaign expenses, which reach some 179 million pesos, while Go's expenses amounted to 161 million pesos. According to election law expert Attorney George Garcia, SOSE should not just be COMELEC's basis for scrutinizing the candidates' contributions and expenditures, especially those who won.
The COMELEC cannot and should not rely solely on a single document. You have to make a comparison of several documents. Minsan nga, hindi yung SOSE, hindi resibo, hindi yung submission ng mga istasyon, kung hindi salin.
Attorney Garcia calls on the Congress to amend the government's electoral system, especially the spending limit of candidates in campaigning to be fair to all, rich or poor.
Ang daming butas, ang daming dapat na baguhin na batas, ang daming mga adjustment na dapat nating baguhin. Lalong-lalo na yung 3 pesos and 5 pesos. Sino nang maniniwala ngayon? Si Juan Maria at Pedro na 3 pesos lang per registered voter, 5 pesos lang kapag kakandidato. Hindi totoo yon. Kaya lang, yun kasi yung 3 piso lang at saka 5 piso. So therefore, maglilimit lang talaga yung mga kandidato doon sa nakalagay sa batas mismo.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Former Bureau of Corrections officer in charge Rafael Ragos took to the witness stand during the trial of Senator Laila de Lima's drug-related case. The credibility of Ragos was once again questioned due to his conflicting statements. May Bermudez will tell us why.
As the trial on Senator Laila de Lima's conspiracy to commit illegal drug trading case continues, former Bureau of Corrections officer in charge Rafael Ragos underwent cross-examination today. Ragos is one of the accused and later made a witness by the Department of Justice. Ragos was formerly accused of conspiring with de Lima and her driver bodyguard Ronnie Dayan to slip illegal drugs inside the new Bilibid prisons. In the duration of his 3-hour cross-examination, de Lima's camp is not convinced with his testimonies.
It shows how paano siya nagpi-flip-flop. Yung conflicting statements niya, importante para sa amin yan because it shows how unbelievable yung kanyang statement.
Ragos was also questioned over his version of the story on how another witness discovered drug money.
Makakadiscover ka ng black bag na may 5 milyon na hindi mo man lang i-imbestigahan na maayos. It happened not once but twice. No? 2 beses ka makakita ng bag, wala kang gagawin. Hindi, NBI ka, you're trained to conduct investigation. But ano yung sagot niya kanina? Wala lang, kinausap ko lang yung mga tao, sino naglagay.
The DOJ prosecution panel maintained their witnesses credible.
Well, there was already a ruling of the DOJ of the resolution discharging him as one of the accused. Inabot namin yung original panel during the most public consideration granted demotion.
De Lima was granted furlough by the court for the celebration of the oath-taking of his son who passed the 2018 bar examinations. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Philippine National Police steps up their crackdown on erring cops. Nina Armilio tells us why.
The government is serious in cleansing the ranks of the policemen. This is what Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary Eduardo Año reiterated amid the launching of the PNP Integrated Monitoring and Enforcement Group or IMEG.
We upgraded the CITF into a group. So meaning to say, more resources, more people, and more authority. So, because we're serious in cleansing the ranks of the policemen.
Based on the latest random drug test among police officers, PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde has revealed that there are about 400 cops who
who tested positive for illegal drug use. With the PNP MEG, Secretary Anyo emphasized that cops who get involved in corrupt and illegal acts, such as the use of drugs, despite the government's crackdown on illegal substance, will not be spared.
It will be as relentless as the first day that we launch our campaign against illegal drugs. Hindi magbabago yan. Yan walang aabuso na pulis. Hindi lang pang-aabuso, pati yung mga mai-involve sa korupsyon.
The PNP MEG will still be headed by Police Colonel Romeo Karamat, the Criminal Investigation Task Force Director.
This will institutionalize our internal cleansing sa Philippine National Police. It will not only involve yung erring PNP personnel but also will involve yung mga graft and corrupt practices.
The new group needs additional equipment and men who will come from the Special Action Force for a more comprehensive internal cleansing. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
A random Chinese luncheon meat seized from returning OFW tests positive for African swine fever. Leslie Huidem will tell us why.
5 cans of luncheon meat intercepted in Clark International Airport, Pampanga on March 8 have tested positive for African swine fever virus. The meat products were reportedly confiscated from a Filipino worker from Hong Kong. The meat samples tested positive for the virus last March 25 based on authorities' analysis. The cans of meat product had undergone condemnation and then buried at a lot in San Fernando, Pampanga. The head of the airport's veterinary quarantine services says that since January, there has been about 3 tons of imported animal and poultry products confiscated at the Clark International Airport, but these are the only products tainted with the ASF virus.
That was last March 8, 2019. Nasabat po yun gabi via Hong Kong. May dala po siyang mga 5 delata Sky Go na pork luncheon meat. Then, ang standard operation procedure namin, veterinary protocols, kukuha kami ng sample. So, ako mismo kumuha ng sample nun. Ayun, after that, pinadala namin sa Manila, Bai, sa main office namin, sa laboratory, March 19. Then, sa nakita namin report, March 25, positive sa ASF viral gene.
Meanwhile, 4 plastic bags of counterfeit duck and meat products were found in a male comfort room inside Clark International Airport with X marks. The X mark means a canned good or meat product must undergone the airport's veterinary quarantine services examination. But the said products had been brought into the comfort room instead of undergoing inspection. They are now with the Bureau of Animal Industry to be examined if the meat products are infected with the ASF virus. Leslie Widem, UNTV News and Rescue, Pampanga.
Pure Foods will meet Alaska for a bid to claim their first win in the PBA Legends face-off. Meanwhile, San Miguel are on a quest for their 3rd win in a row. Asher Cadapan Jr. will tell us why.
Miller, quick catch by Adriano, muntik makuha ang bola. Now, Berriols. And si Tumara against Helperbrand. The kick out. Ravena. Yes.
After 2 game days in the UNTV Cup off-season PBA Legends face-off, the Pure Foods team still has no wins. On Sunday, as they face Alaska team, the Pure Foods Legends are eyeing nothing but a win on the 3rd game day of the tourney.
Right now, kulang-kulang kami. So, si Ronnie, that's why we're losing also. Wala kami 3-point shooter. Anyways, next game, maglalaro na si Ronnie Magsano. And also Dwight Lago.
But Alaska vowed to improve their play to get a 2-1 standing.
Kailangan namin magkaroon ng communication. Yung triangle, medyo na-abandon na namin. Kailangan namin ng pasensya doon sa ball movement. We need to make stop para makatakbo kami.
Kailangan lang maka-stop ng mas marami. Hindi ito walang second chance points more.
Meanwhile, San Miguel, who are leading the standing with 2 wins and no loss, say they will take advantage of their experience and strong defense.
Doon mo makikita siguro yung experience ng team. If you're down o kaya if you're leading tapos nahabol, na nakaka-adjust right away. And so thankful na maganda yung naging depensa namin. Ibang style naman itong Ginebra. So we'll see how it goes.
They will meet crowd favorite Ginebra, who have the never say die spirit in every game.
They're very strong. Everyone is expecting them to win, and not just win, but win big. But again, we're NSD. We're never say die. And we're not going to back up from anybody.
Another feature of the PBA Legends face-off is the man-to-man play of the towers. Ginebra's EJ File and Purefoods Bonel Balingit.
Malakas si Bonel. The Mountain yan eh. Sabi ko sa kanya, huwag siya masyadong seryoso eh. Nakasimangot na naman siya pag nakaseryoso eh. Pero body-body ko ngayon yan.
Si EJ File, hindi pa sa basta mabangga yan, mabigat yan. No, siguro mga speed na lang nagbabago, pero yung lakas nandyan, hindi mawala yun.
Even the fans await exciting action from the Giants.
Nakakamiss yung mga laro nila nung araw eh. Magto-throwback ka sa kahit medyo mahina na. Andun pa rin yung laro.
Masarap i-refresh yung nakaraan eh.
Andun pa rin yung galing nila. Yung excitement nandun pa rin eh. Nakita ko sila, parang masayang dahil nakita ko silang muling nagbabanggaan.
The gentle giant is delighted for another chance to play on the hard court.
Maraming salamat, hindi nawala yung inyong pagsuporta. No? Kasi ito, kung hindi dahil sa UNTV, hindi po ito mangyayari. No? Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga supporters.
Sunday, June 16, awaits a Purefoods Alaska face-off at 12 p.m. in the first game and a San Miguel Ginebra clash at 1:30 p.m. at the Pasig City Sports Center. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
To complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. One of the emerging problems in Hong Kong is the high cost of housing. A company has designed a house made of concrete pipes to ease Hong Kong's housing crisis. Here's Monokson to tell us why.
Who says that a concrete pipe like this is only used for sewerage? Here in Hong Kong, concrete pipes can be used in making houses. That's right, a house for people. The micro-home in pipes was designed by James Low Cybertecture to ease the worsening housing crisis in Hong Kong. The concrete pipes are called O-Pod tube housing and is 2.5 meters wide and 9.29 square meters. The concrete pipes can be stacked that will serve as a temporary home for young Hong Kongers who are just beginning to work in the city. The tube house can be a place to live in for 2 years at an affordable price. An O-Pod tube house is worth 11,000 Hong Kong dollars or equivalent to 72,000 pesos. You can also rent it for 300 Hong Kong dollars per month or equivalent to almost 2,000 pesos. Compared with a typical room rented for 1,500 Hong Kong dollars or equivalent to 10,500 pesos monthly. The tube house has its own living room, kitchen, and comfort room. There is also a space for your microwave oven, refrigerator, aircon, bookshelves, and clothes. The door is made of thick glass, while a wooden floor is installed to make it easier for the occupant to move around. The tube homes can fit small spaces between buildings and can be stacked up above low-rise buildings. But this project is still in an experimental stage, and the company is in negotiation with the Hong Kong government with a view to start installing and renting O-Pod houses. The company who designed the tube homes admit this is not the solution to the worsening housing crisis, but definitely will help as an alternative to high-cost housing. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
In the USA,
White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, a fierce loyalist of President Donald Trump, who evolved into one of his closest advisors, will leave her job at the end of the month to return to her home state of Arkansas. Sanders, who has worked with Trump since the early days of his unconventional run for office, is the latest in a long line of his senior advisors to leave. Trump did not immediately name a replacement.
I'll try not to get emotional because I know that crying can make us look weak sometimes, right? This has been the honor of a lifetime, the opportunity of a lifetime. I couldn't be prouder to have had the opportunity to serve my country and particularly to work for this president.
In Sudan, Sudan's military rulers said on Thursday they had thwarted several coup attempts and that some officers had been arrested over the deadly dispersal of protesters at the sit-in in Khartoum earlier this month. Medics linked to the opposition have said 118 people were killed in the crackdown on June 3rd, while the military council has put the toll at 61. Dozens of bodies were pulled from the Nile River. Two different groups of people suspected of involvement in the attempted coups had been arrested, the Transitional Military Council spokesman said. The council itself took power in a coup on April 11 when military officials ousted and detained former President Omar al-Bashir after months of protests against his 30-year autocratic rule. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
A 70-year-old man from the war-torn Syrian city of Aleppo has become known as the Yellow Man after wearing only yellow for the last 36 years. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
Abu Zakur has been dressing himself in yellow since 1983. The man wears everything in yellow, including his suits, neckties, shirts, underwear, socks, slippers, glasses, and even his suitcase. He also broke the Guinness Book of World Records for wearing yellow for the longest time. Zakur said yellow is the color of joy and happiness and represents love in his eyes.
Yellow is beautiful, bright and lovely. It is the color of love between people, not only in Syria, but almost all over the world. People from many countries have left me messages that yellow is beautiful and makes people delighted and happy.
Joy and happiness are precious gifts in the war-torn city of Aleppo. Before the war, Aleppo was Syria's largest city and commercial center and also known as the city that never sleeps. But since the rebels captured the city, its former prosperity has been destroyed. Zakur, always in yellow, likes to walk around after meals and greet his neighbors and passers-by. Ever the crowd pleaser, he makes every place he goes to be filled with laughter. Now Zakur thinks it has become his new job after retirement to bring joy back to Aleppo.
When people see me on the street, they come up to me whether they're old or young. I hug the kids to make people feel happy again and put a smile on their faces.
Zakur has always brought joy and comfort to the people in Aleppo suffering from the war. Although usually smiling, Zakur has had his own share of misfortune after his house was destroyed in the war and when he was captured and interrogated by the militants. To this, he says that life still goes on and he hopes Syria will be peaceful again soon. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this June 14, 2019. On behalf of Alex Baltasar, I'm Angelo Castro III, and before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Tinakbuhan talaga sila, sir. Sa kasalukuyan nga daw, sir, ay kwento daw ng mga tao ay yung angkla po nila ay naano pa sa China. Kung hindi po daw nila naputol yung tali, yun po ay talaga sigurong nawasak na talaga na siguro po pati tao kasama.
Even more serious is iniwan yung ating mga tao na
para malunod sa dagat bale, no? Hindi sila tinulungan pagkatapos ng insidente. Very serious very serious offense yan pagdating sa international law.
Sana mahal na Pangulo, binigyan mo kami ng pagkakataon, mabawi ang pera namin. Si Apolinario at saka mga investors ang ambulahan.
Last March 8, 2019, nasabat po yun gabi via Hong Kong. May dala po siyang 5 delata Sky Go na pork luncheon meat. After that, pinadala namin sa Manila by sa main office namin sa laboratory March 19. Then, isa nakita namin report, March 25, positive sa ASF viral gene.
You know, just to be able to win this championship this year is just something special for me, because you know how the last year everybody was looking at me, and I stayed true to myself, and I had a great support system. And once I got here to Toronto, they understood everything, and the move kept moving from there.